trying to target startups or, smaller businesses, they haven't got the funds, and actually maybe they need to learn how to do it themselves, and they're happy to do that for the time being. And then when they start growing, they might say, oh, actually, I'll reach out to Hayley because she helped me do it myself, but now I need someone else to do it because they've grown.
You're listening to the Bookkeepers Podcast, sponsored by Xero.
I use Xero's accounting and bookkeeping software to manage my clients' accounts, and I love it. If you haven't tried it yet, head over to xero.com with an X, and you can either start a free 30-day trial or sign up to Xero's partner program to join their amazing community of forward-thinking accountants and bookkeepers.
Hi and welcome to the Bookkeepers Podcast. I'm Zoe Whitman. I'm here with Jo Wood, and we're joined by Hayley Broomfield today. Hi Hayley. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. A good start to my day. I've had 2 discovery calls already today.
Wow.
So, feeling positive for a Monday morning. How are you both?
We're really good. We've got some exciting changes happening behind the scene at Six Figure Bookkeeper. So we've had a team meeting this morning. We all know what we got to do. We can be talking about it. So watch this space. In fact, if you're watching the replay or you're listening to this, check the show notes, because we've got some details in the show notes for you where you can find out more about ways to work with us. But first of all, Hayley, I'd love to introduce you to the audience. Hayley, do you want to start by telling us a bit about your background and what you do?
Yes. So hi, everybody. So I started HB accounting in its earliest form in 2016. I was a sole trader, very much felt like just little old me, working on an hourly rate for clients, mostly in their offices. And I very quickly created a job for myself because I went self-employed because I wanted that freedom. And suddenly that freedom wasn't there anymore because I was doing so many hours. I couldn't earn any more because it was the hourly rate. And then things changed when I had my first baby. And so then that enabled me to push things to go remotely and do things from home. But I still didn't realize I was a business owner. I was still just little old me working away in the spare room. And then I took on some more work and I just couldn't cope. And I thought, this isn't working. This isn't what I thought business would be, what working for myself would be. And then I discovered Six Figure Bookkeeper. So I followed you guys online for a while. And then in July 22, I signed up to the Success Program, which really changed things for me. I suddenly realized that I was running a business. I suddenly realized all the things that I could do better, pricing being a massive one for me. So I repriced all of my clients and my turnover doubled. I lost 1 or 2 really small clients, but they weren't really enough to kind of be significant. Everybody could see sort of the value in me, and it just went from there. And I was like, oh, okay. So realized I had to get systems in place, and I've now got a couple of subcontractors, and so here I am. Things have really changed.
Wow, Hayley, what a story. And I'm sure lots and lots of people can resonate. We don't know what we don't know when we start out, and we do what we assume is the right thing. Can you tell me, what was your background? So you didn't start your business because you had a baby, because that came later. So what was you doing? What was your work background? And did you study at that point, or was you already qualified?
Yeah, so I was already qualified. I fell into bookkeeping when I dropped out of college at 17. And got my AAT, and I've always worked in practice, like the 9 to 5. Worked for a big firm that I was having to travel to back and forth up the M3, and I've got a horse as well. So for me at that point, before family, he was my biggest priority, and I was annoyed with getting to the yard late at night. It was dark, I was too tired to ride, and I just thought, this is rubbish. I need some freedom. Upon talking to somebody who I used to work with, who set up on his own, he offered me some hours subcontracting for him. So I reduced my contract in my job, part-time hours, and then worked with him, and it just sort of went from there. And then people started knowing what I was doing, and I got offered work, and so I gave up my then part-time job. Like 26. Well, it must have been 2017 by that point. Yeah.
What does business look like now? Because you've got little children, haven't you? And how flexible are you at the moment?
So it's really great that I can run my business around my family. That's now obviously my biggest priority. It's kind of switched from my horse. I still have him, and I still have to factor him in. So I'm always kind of juggling something or other. But yeah, my eldest has just started school, and I'm able to drop her off every day and pick her up every day. And for me, that's important. And then my little one goes to nursery. So I'm sort of working school hours a few days a week. But I end up doing evenings as well, trying to get little bits done. But I'm okay with that because I can do the other things, drop off and pick up. So I feel like you can't do everything. For some people, they say they don't want to work evenings, and that's fine. But for me, I'm happy to do a little bit in the evening because I feel it's, the kind of the payoff for being able to drop off and pick up and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and as well, you are charging correctly, so you're actually earning some money, which the problem with working evenings when you're not earning money and you're stressed and it's like, what's the point? But when there's a fair trade of, well, I'm going to do this, but then I've had the afternoon off with the kids, and I've done the school, and I've done the dinner, I've got rid of any of the mum guilt.
Yeah,
I don't mind sitting down and doing it. What I find interesting, and why I was asking about your background, was the fact that coming out of practice, where accountancy firms charge by the hour for everyone's like labelled with their charge out rate, aren't they?
Yeah.
No wonder we go out and set up a business exactly the same. And this is why I find it interesting that we have to unlearn what we've seen and what we're mirroring from what we mostly perceived to be successful companies. So like traditional accountancy firms from the outside look really successful, and they're earning money, and the partners are driving really nice cars and things. So you think, oh, well, I'm just going to do that in a small scale. But what we don't realize is that there's a big team there, and they're all earning profit that's going towards. Whereas when we're small and on our own, there's not the same profit involved, and we've got to cover all of the overheads in that. So I wondered, and also if you used to Google like how should a bookkeeper charge, I'm sure it would come up hourly rate. I see it all the time. This week I saw on TikTok a bookkeeper coach telling people what the new hourly rate should be, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's still the standard way. So you mustn't beat yourself up. But I love the fact that you repriced everyone. Now, you said you lost a couple of people. Did you doubled your turnover through repricing? Did you feel that the work doubled in that, or did you feel like you was working double the amount? Because people think, well, I bet you're doing so much more work. Or was it a case you actually was able to double and not work any more really, or just a little bit more?
Yeah, that exactly. So the turnover doubled, what I was charging pretty much doubled, but the work didn't. The work was still the same as what I was doing before. So it, then enabled me to grow further. But I was nervous, and I think we all get nervous about having that conversation with clients when it's such a big change. But I just had to explain that my business had changed, and they were going to get better value because I was going to be able to start offering more advisory. And I think all of my clients sort of saw the value, knew our relationship was great, and they could trust me. And so the majority of them, went with it.
I love that. And in terms of the sort of promise that you're going to offer more advisory, because I know that's something that is quite, it feels like a big shift for a lot of bookkeepers. But personally, my view is to push you as far as possible into like the FD role, because that's obviously where you're going to add the most value. And we all have access to the numbers to be able to do that. But having that conversation about advisory, how did that feel? And what did you what kind of conversations were you having? Like, can you talk me through what you would have said to one of those clients you were repricing?
Yeah, so truthfully, it did feel a little bit icky having that conversation, along with, oh, you know, your fees doubling. But that kind of went with me. I was using Go Proposal at that point, so showing the clients this is where your fee comes from, so they could see it adding up. It wasn't just me putting my finger in the air. So it was then about kind of talking to them about moving from just doing bookkeeping, VAT returns, limited company accounts, etc. That's all great. That has to be done, keeps you compliant, keeps taxman happy, but that doesn't really help you move forward. So once I started explaining that, clients were like, oh, right, yeah, you know, because we're looking at your information from last year. It's not really relevant to where you are now or where you want to go. So just started talking about goals, what their goals might be, but kind of talking more about their personal goals, because I think people forget that their business drives their personal goals, because that's where your money comes from. And as much as we love what we do, we are all in it to make money. That's why we're here, isn't it? So what did they want to achieve personally, whether that was, you know, something like paying off a mortgage or going on holiday? What was that going to cost them? Therefore, what did they need to do in their business? And they were going, I don't know. Oh, well, I need to make more money. Well, yes, of course, but how are you going to make more money, and how much more money do you need to make? So once I started saying that, you know, the penny was dropping, and people started to, you know, become more on board with the advisory.
Do you think that this you being able to get the courage, and because that's a big, you said you felt icky but you still did it anyway, and that is massive. You know, there's a lot of people that will learn what they need to do but never take the action. I find that in the Success Lounge, lots of people are doing it, so you end up like riding a wave and borrowing other people's belief, because there's a collection of you together. And when someone says, right, hold me accountable, I need to do something with my pricing, and everyone's so supportive. I don't think I could have done that without having people cheerleading me on, or seeing that someone else had done it, and then we're really good at sharing what we've done, and then you're like, oh, it's possible for them. Do you think that helped you? And that's what the difference between, you know, start your business in 2017 and then get into 2022 and you was priced by the hour. Did you need other people around you to make that jump and have those icky conversations?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that sense of community is important. And what's that saying? I only come across it again the other day, but you know, you are the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So that 5 people is always going to be my husband and the kids, right? But I didn't have a huge network of people, you know, none of my friends that I haven't made through business, my sort of normal kind of friends, if you know what I mean, have their own businesses. So nobody really got that. So having that community was massive, of not only business owners, like-minded business owners, but other bookkeepers and accountants who could say, well, I tried this or I tried that, and then seeing other people's success. And so it's about, by me sharing my success, then people will think, yeah, like she did it. I'm nothing special. I'm just me, you know. So we can all do it. We all just need to work together.
Oh, Hayley, when we organised this podcast interview with you, we'd been talking about your other income streams that you were building into your business. Can you tell me about what you've been working on around your bookkeeping practice?
Yeah, so I discovered earlier this year passive income, and signed up for a course to learn about that. And that just opened up my eyes. It was not something I knew anything at all about. And I did lose a client at the end of last year, quite a big client. So I knew that this year I had to replace that income. So I was just thinking it would be a bookkeeping client. But yeah, I came across passive income and started learning about how to create a funnel. I had no idea what that was. How to create a lead magnet. I had no idea what that was or how to do it. But yeah, I've learned. And so I've been learning a lot about that. I've now got a freebie out there, which is about maximizing your business profits and kind of overcoming the 3 key kind of challenges that business owners face and that I faced as well. So things that I did and I've changed in my business. And so with that came kind of growing an audience, because people need to know who I am, where to find me, what I do. And then my goal next year is to create a course. Not entirely sure of the details yet, whether it's going to be a bookkeeping course or a how to do bookkeeping on zero, or not, or more kind of like how to run a business, all the things you need to consider as well as bookkeeping.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting. And sounds really needed as well. And I guess you've got clients who are looking for that kind of information. So actually talking about something that complements the work you do as a bookkeeper, which is more about running the business or maybe doing the bookkeeping themselves, is a way into saying either like a cross sell to people who you're already working with, or the start of the journey, the top of the funnel. We should quickly explain the sales terms, but just getting people into your world, people who might eventually want to book a call with you. If you've got something to get out there and sort of advertise that's a bit different to, hey, I do bookkeeping, book a call, people are going to start getting on your mailing list, and then you can start sort of building a relationship with them.
Yeah.
You're also setting yourself out as the expert, because when you create a course and you've got a lead magnet and a freebie, someone's perception of you is very different to if they've opened up, I'm going to say really old, the yellow pages and looked for bookkeepers and found a bookkeeper, that you're just a number, you're just a Google search, whatever. You're not, there's no credibility or level of expertise. But if they come into your world because you've taught them something, then that's a very different starting point. So I'm assuming if these people come in and do this course, either it's like the thing where, well, you're going to give them everything they need to know to do it themselves, but sometimes people still aren't going to want to do that. So they could still come and use your services. Is that how it is? It's like you're going to have the income streams there will be either like self-serve, here's how you do it yourself, and you earn money from the course. Or if you want more of my expertise, then come into my bookkeeping practice and I'll do it for you, done for you service as such.
Yeah, a bit of both. And there's always those people that haven't got the funds to pay for my services. So it's about, instead of just thinking, well, they're not going to work with me, they can't afford me, saying, well, I can still help you. You can do this course, and do your bookkeeping yourself. And they'll either do the course, figure out how to do their bookkeeping, and off they go, or they'll do it and realize that they still need the support, and then they might kind of see the value in that done for you service. So yeah, or then they'll do the bookkeeping and then want me to do their self-assessment or review what they've done or give them advisory services. So there's kind of a few different options there, I think.
Yeah, I think we're afraid to give people the opportunity to do it themselves, or the tools to do it themselves, because we're worried that we can't, in a certain mindset, we can be afraid that means we're going to lose the customer in the future. But the reality is that there are many people who are like, I just need to understand this, but actually this isn't my skill set and I just want someone else to come in and do it for me.
Yeah, exactly. And also with, trying to target startups or, smaller businesses, they haven't got the funds, and actually maybe, they need to learn how to do it themselves, and they're happy to do that for the time being. And then when they start growing, they might say, oh, actually, I'll reach out to Hayley because she helped me do it myself, but now I need someone else to do it because they've grown.
Absolutely. So you said earlier that basically, passive income, you can create the course, but the funnel, you need to be able to capture people and tell them about it, which is about growing an audience. What are the steps you've taken to grow your audience, and where are you being visible?
Okay, so I'm kind of learning about social media. I'm naturally not a social media person, so it's been quite a challenge to kind of overcome that and get visible. I'm on LinkedIn. I don't use that one as much currently. So my main platforms are Facebook and Instagram. So it's just posting out a couple of times a week on my business page. I use a 6-figure bookkeeper content subscription. So that goes out 3 times a week. So that's going out and people are seeing that. And then as well as that, I jump on and do my own posts, just kind of things that might have cropped up that I want to share. And then I've got a Facebook group as well. So the posts I do try to kind of redirect people to that group.
Hey, it's Zoe here. I just wanted to ask you to do us a little tiny favour. It really helps us when we get reviews on this podcast, and we know that most of our listeners actually don't subscribe. I would love to invite you to subscribe to always get the latest episode of the Bookkeepers podcast in your feed, and also to leave us a review. It helps us so much. Back to the show.
So that's where there's kind of a bit more value going on, and it's a bit more personal and one-to-one rather than just the information on my usual page. And then, yes, I've got my freebie, which is shared on my website. It's on my Facebook and Insta pages that people can download that. And then after they download that, they get asked if they'd like to join the Facebook group. So they all kind of interlink. And then within the Facebook group, if they haven't already downloaded the lead magnet because they've come through elsewhere, then I'm saying in there, to download it. So it's kind of a bit of a circle, really.
Yeah, I think so. Like when you've got lots of free content, just keep pointing people across things and they can always say, oh, actually, I've already got that. What do you do in your Facebook group then?
So I post every day. I'm learning how the group works and how best to manage it and to post. So I've kind of got a little theme at the moment where Tuesdays is Top Tip Tuesday. So I come up with some kind of tip, like, the importance of reconciling your bank regularly. Gosh, my mind's gone blank. Just general little businessy tips. Monday, I kind of normally do like a little mindset thing, mindset boost, a little mindset post. And then Wednesdays, I usually share one of my freebies. And then, Thursday, I kind of give another tip or kind of chat about what my top tip was, go a little bit further into that, talk about things about, thinking like a business owner, the importance of systems and processes, the importance of boundaries, all of those little things that, we need to know and we need to implement to do well. Even though they're not, bookkeeping as such, it's all of those things come hand in hand.
It's really interesting how you've built this, it's like you've got the momentum because you've decided I want to explore the way I can help people with this course. And I don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but to be able to do that, I need to get in front of people and be visible and build what we're calling an audience. And actually in doing that, you're having conversations about bookkeeping. Are you finding that you're getting more leads for the bookkeeping business from that work?
Yeah, definitely. So part of, getting visible so that people can find the lead magnet and the group is about posting in other groups and trying to find like where my ideal client is. So I've got some, local Facebook groups from the local towns and villages around me, as well as, online communities like Mums in Business, that kind of thing. And posting in there who I am and what I do, trying to answer other people's questions if they've got some kind of bookkeeping or accountancy question, and just kind of, cheerleading other people and just engaging really. And then that's, people are then nosing at my profile, finding me, joining my group. And so in the last week, I've had maybe 7 new inquiries. One signed up Friday afternoon. I've had 2 calls today. I've got 4 calls booked in tomorrow. So these are all discovery calls. So it's gone a bit mad. And I think that's just because I've been visible and people know where I am and who I am.
So this is incredible and shows the power of action. How long have you been doing this with your Facebook group and becoming more visible? How long have you, because the results you're getting now is not because you started this last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably about 3 or 4 months now. So it's been a long process and it feels a bit painful at first, particularly when I'm not one for social media personally. So I never used to really post on it that much. So it's kind of getting out of my own way and posting on there and posting pictures of myself so that people can see me, sharing a little bit about, I'm a mum, so people can, be relatable. But I've been posting almost every day across my personal profile and my business profiles as well.
Zoe and I have often said this, and it's really come to light this year, that whatever we're experiencing today in our business is because of the results of something we were doing 3 months ago. And you have just proved this, but you've stayed consistent, or what you've been doing in the last 3 months, should I say. So it's like, it's a momentum and it's consistency. And I'm sure there've been many times, Hayley, that you've been like, this isn't working. No, what, this is like tumbleweed. Where are anyone? No one wants to hear me. We've had all these, but today you're sitting here with 7 inquiries in the last week because of exactly that. And that is the work that most people won't do. They're not willing to do the consistent, repetitive things. You know, we're sitting here, we're at nearly at 300 episodes of this podcast, and most people go, what? How have you done that? We do 1 episode every week. It is the consistency where the magic happens. And so I really want to applaud you for that, because I'm telling you, most people after 3, 4, 6 weeks would have thrown the towel in and said, this isn't working. Is that what, do you think that's been the case? Did you have results on day 1, or has it taken a while?
No, it's literally the last week or so I started to have a few more inquiries, and I always ask people where they found me, if they haven't directly directly Facebook messaged me or whatever, and it is online. And I've also got a Google business profile, which I've learned quite a lot about, so I've got that set up. I'm now asking clients for reviews, so that's somewhere else that people can find me, and again, kind of build that credibility.
Have you found that you said there are lots of different types of content you're creating? So you're sharing the content subscription, which is like quite generic, like an image and some text, and any bookkeeper could have written it. Like, you know, we know that about the subscription. It's the baseline of content to make sure that it doesn't look like you're dead. It's okay, this profile is still alive. It's a really good sales pitch there, Jo. Then you're sharing the more personal content, where you're sharing a photo of yourself and just giving people a little bit of an insight into who you are. And then you've also got this content which is for a specific purpose for your Facebook community, where you're trying to get them having a conversation, I guess, in your group, because you're talking to them about tips and talking more specifically about business. Do you find that any one of those 3 types of content works better than another?
At this point, no, I don't feel like I can pinpoint that. I think it's just all 3 together. Like you say, with the content subscription, it's just going out as like a baseline. Like you say, we're still here, we're still active, because there's nothing worse than finding somebody online and going on the website or going on their socials. It's not been updated for 3 years. You kind of think, nah, I'm not sure I want to work with that person, you know? And then kind of having the more personal stuff. I think that really helps with like the ideal client, because I like to work with mums or dads, and I just kind of got that like passion about, you don't have to choose of being a good parent or running a profitable business. Like, you can absolutely do both.
Oh, I love that. That's so lovely. And I think when you have a vision and a purpose that drives you, that will make you do the hard work. So that's fantastic. What does your business, your practice look like in the future? Because you are doing a really good job at marketing, and you're going to get these leads in, and you said you've got a couple of subcontractors. What do you and for you as well, you want to run a profitable business that allows you to be a good mum as well as a great business owner. What do you envisage your practice looking like in 3 years' time?
I think probably an employee or 2 would probably be where I'm looking to go, so that most of the work can be done by somebody else, and then I can really kind of step into that CEO role, and be doing this, kind of the sales and bringing the clients in, and then having somebody that I can pass over who will, be their main point of contact and do the bulk of the work. So it may be that there's somebody who's lower level doing the bookkeeping, and then more of a kind of, practice manager person who's kind of doing, the next bit on, so that I don't really have to get involved. Because at the moment, although the work's done by my team, I'm still the main point of contact and quite involved. So it'd be kind of good to kind of step away from that slightly.
Amazing. I'm really excited for you. There's so much going on. And
Aww.
like, just know as well, doing this around young kids is not like you've got one in school, one in nursery. I know that. I know what it's like. And it isn't as easy. Like, you look so like relaxed, and you've like got all these plans, and you've thought about the future. And it's like, this is you deciding and like choosing and being focused. Not everyone is able to do that, and I just wanted to like celebrate that you're doing this around a very busy life. So it's so possible. Like, anyone watching this, like, be inspired by Hayley, because you can do it, but it's the commitment and the decision that you're going to do it, and then that consistency, that boring, repeatable work that we have to keep doing over and over.
Yeah, I heard somebody say the other day, that the boring stuff sells. The boring consistency stuff is what sells, and that not what sells, what creates success. That's what I'm trying to say. So that being boring and consistent, all of those little tasks, what makes you successful.
And not being like looking left and right at other people. You've stayed in your lane. You've not been comparing yourself to anyone else. You're like, this is what I'm creating, and I'm getting inspiration from other people, but I'm doing the repetitive work. And that consistency does give you success. But what most people do is they look left and right, and to see a shiny object over there, and they go for that, and they don't stay that. So congratulations, especially when you've got little ones. You're doing a fantastic job, and I'm sure you've inspired so many people who are listening today, because you've inspired me, and I'm sure you've inspired Zoe too. So thank you so much, Hayley, for joining us.
It's almost just passing that inspiration on, because I've been inspired by you two, and I've been inspired by so many others, that I've met on my journey. So it's just lovely to now share my story, and if one person picks something up from it, then I'll be really happy.
Oh, so Hayley, how can people connect with you and find out more about what you do?
So you can find me. My website is hbaccounting.co.uk, and then again, Facebook and Instagram, it's HB Accounting or Hayley Broomfield. You can find me on there, and then from there you'll find my links to my free resources and the link to my Facebook group. It's all there.
Amazing. Oh, thank you so much, Hayley, for joining us today, and thanks everyone who's tuned in. And
thank you.
We'll see you next week for another episode of the Bookkeepers Podcast. Take care. Bye.
Wonderful. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for the Bookkeepers Podcast. Why not join us in the Six Figure Bookkeepers Club at sixfigurebookkeeper.club, or visit our website sixfigurebookkeeper.com.